Hello. Welcome back to the welcome back to my programming channel where I just write applications and occasionally do some gaming. Um, for a quick follow-up and review, um, where was I? I am writing a Simple Bay application. Simple Bay. It is a combination of it's basically almost like a weird eBay-ish type thing where people can create a product, create an offer. Once they create that offer, someone else can log in and purchase that particular product. I'm not adding any UI at the moment. Mainly, it's just kind of an exploration in Nest.js and Svelte. But that's the general gist of what I'm building at this particular point. In Nest.js, I've created the majority of the endpoints. So the user endpoint, which allows one to both create a user and log in. The product endpoints that allow you to look for a product and create a product. The offer endpoint that allows you to find and create find offers. So for each product, there's a series of offers, and create an offer. The category product, which just allows you to create a category, but and of course list the categories. That's not something that's really going to be editable from the front end at this particular point. If ever I choose to redo this project or expand upon it, that might be something that's allowable. And then lastly, the sale piece that allows you to create a sale for a particular user and to get all of the list of all of the sales for a particular user. So that's kind of where we are in terms of the back end. And on the front end, we've created a few different pieces. We've created the sign up page, the sale page for when you purchase a product, the product page, the login page, and we have a couple different components for that. It's actually going fairly smoothly at this particular point. I'm going to go ahead and start up everything and kind of get things going. npm run. We want to do npm run dev. I'll kind of just walk through what I have so far. I think I've figured out what I want to do for my next project, though. I want to build a much more complex website, and we'll kind of go from there. But at the same particular point, again, if somebody has a request or something, I know there was a request that came in to make something for Morse code, but I don't know if people will be interested in that. So let's go ahead and pull up our website, 127. So here we have the basics of the website. I only have one product on here. It's used to be a League of Legends player, and now I just use this as an example. So you search for League, and it's search, or if you put in Legends and then do search, it pulls it up. It's clickable, so that when you click on League of Legends, it shows all the products. Oh yeah, on the front end, I'm also, besides using Svelte, I'm also using Tailwind CSS. And I'm not a master of Svelte or Tailwind, so there's a lot of Googling around and trying to figure out how things work. Also, I'll try to keep things potentially a little more succinct, only because at this particular point I'm cutting down my streaming to about 2 hours. But it will allow me to kind of do a focused 2 hours. I'll probably actually be a little bit more focused in terms of projects as I continue. This one was kind of right off the top of my head, and so I didn't map out all the pieces that I should have, and I want to try to take steps next time to do a better job of planning things out and laying all the things out and how all of that should work. So we have a category, everything here. Once a person is logged in, they should see two options, both search and log out. I actually need to fix that. And then when a person chooses to buy, again, this is a terrible buy page. we display the number of units. That should see units available, not just available. So that's a quick fix on the sale page that we can fix. And that component's going to be the sales form component. So we can come down here, and that should be 5 units available. So that's a quick fix. On this particular page, we have just a simple option. Once you decide how many units you want, it automatically calculates it. It does display the offer description and the product description, and of course the product name. And then you can choose purchase. It also automatically, once you purchase it, it reduces the available units in the database and refreshes the page. So since we purchased just one, it refreshes the page unless you know how many units. I believe there's a much better way of doing that with Ajax, where we would make a call out and just, instead of doing a whole page refresh, but I went a little lazy on this particular one. I think from a much better user perspective, it would actually probably be better, now that I think about it, it would actually probably be better since, thank you. It would actually probably be better since I already pull in the product information right when I start, that when a person hits purchase, that it automatically reduces the amount available within the actual object that we keep locally. The only downside, of course, with that is that if there's another person who's also purchasing the product at the same time, it clashes. So in that particular instance, it's great for, immediate local development, but it's not so great for like a larger product. So let's say an Amazon store, when you're sitting down there and you're trying to create, say, multiple products, what you end up running into is that you don't want, like, there's 5 users on the website and each individual user goes to click buy, and because it's only keeping a local copy of the product, everyone can do it rather than being able to see what's going on real time. And that's something that can come back to bite you in terms of development. But and let's see, when we purchase one, it doesn't allow you to purchase anymore once the number of units is no longer available. Also, our offers screen, that's a downside. Our offers should actually only bring back the list of offers that are listed as available status-wise. So let's go ahead and change that in our code while we're in here. Offer. Let's go to our offer controller, find out, get by product ID, and it's going to come over to our offer service. And here we do this, create the offer, get product ID. So we want to find all the offers that match the product ID. And that gets us the product and the offers. And let's adjust the offer query to also be an and I'm not a master of Mongoose. So let me take a look and see. I think I use it somewhere else within category. Or is it product? It's in the product. We do a search. And it would be in, or rather than in, so yeah, we just do product category. And we would use an and, come back over here to our offer service. And we would do, let's see, product service. So we would come over here and do an and build this piece. And yep. And then the other and would be and offer status. Let's double check our schema for that. So the offer schema offers a offer status, which is going to be a Boolean. So we can say and offer status is true. And then lastly, finish you off. So that should update our offers so that when we, of course, that's not going so well. Let's double check our database and see why we don't have any offers. False and false. Oh, I ended up, all of the offers that I created, I have modified and run out. So let's manually update one of them to give it 5 and do a true. One of the other things that I implemented in terms of the code was when someone completes an offer, it actually decrements or reduces the number of products or units available, and it also, when the number of units available hits 0, changes the status to off. And this way, just thinking ahead, knowing that this might happen, I wanted to make sure that we didn't list offers that were no longer available. That way, it limits that. So here we have this. We just modify that, change it to number of units and price. Now again, I think we can make it look a bit better, but this is okay to start. And the logout functioning, of course, means that you can't buy a product until you log in. So that's in place. Now from here, we want to go ahead and modify our header so we just get our login and our search, not both. So let's come back over here to our front end. Our front end is kept in the app folder. So we have our layout.svelte page. We can choose to close all the other tabs and just display this one. And let's zoom in a little bit so hopefully people have an easier chance of reading everything. So we have our search. We have our, I don't know what I was thinking. I wanted to do search, but I also wanted to do log out, and I think we accomplished that. Let's see. Yep, there's search and login. All right, cool. So now we have our search and our login. So you can go back to search and you can choose to log in or not. So I think the only thing that we have left here is the actual completion of the sale. Oh yes, I remember now. Once a person is logged in, we wanted to display an account option. And the account option is just going to list all of the sales. And perhaps we will add on some additional functionality to display all of the offers that a person has created. So at this particular point, it's going to go, let's log out, and this will just go to account. Account and log on, and we only want to display it if there's a user or not. So, excuse me, if there's a user, then we want to go ahead and display this. So they're not logged in. Let's go ahead and log in. Now we display account and login. And of course, in a traditional scenario, or if working for some type of employer, you would actually spend quite a bit more time styling. In this particular instance, we're not going to do that. And it actually might be even better to kind of wrap it. So let's, we'll just leave it alone for now. We don't have an account page yet, but let's go ahead and complete the sale page. So someone logs in, we display the buy, we go to the buy page, we add the number of units, and let's look at how we can create modiles within Svelte. Svelte modile. For those who don't know, modiles are just pop-ups. So yeah, they're just pop-ups. We just call them modiles. And it's because traditionally in programming, again, for those who care and are interested, a pop-up usually is what we would call a separate form, and a whole separate new window in programming. So it literally would be a whole new window versus a modile, which doesn't create a new window, but it does kind of make a smaller container that appears on top of everything else. And we now control that with CSS, but most of the programmers in the spot know that. So let's take a look at how we would do a modile in Svelte. So export let's show modile. So it looks like you're just creating, yeah, you're just doing it traditionally and using a component. So let's go ahead and actually steal their component here. and go over to our particular application and create a component. Now, there's two different ways in which one might do this. And I guess there's more than two. But the two that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head is a generic modile with just like an OK button, or, I'm sorry, generic modile with a lot of functionality. Those are the most robust ones. The great thing about that is that for those type of modiles, a lot of flexibility, lots of functionality, but it does mean that when you initially design it, you have to spend quite a bit of time thinking about all of those little pieces, like allowing people to change the header and the content, add number of buttons, and those are really good, but you can end up spending a lot of time writing that. For this particular instance, I'm going to keep it pretty simple and just do a one modile for each. We'll call it the sale complete modile, and they called it .svelte as well, so we'll do the same thing. We'll add and we'll paste in everything. Show modile, what are you grumpy about? Type any. And since we've been using TypeScript up until this particular point, let's go ahead and change you over to type equals TypeScript. Sign up. Yeah, language equals TypeScript. And come back over here to our sale complete modile. TypeScript, Boolean, Boolean, dialog, HTML, you're going to be an element, HTML element, dialog dot, dialog, if dialog and show model, dialog dot show model. Let's take a look at how they did it. HTML dialog element. Oh, I see. Yep, there we go. And so in this particular instance, header, slot. And this one actually, based upon what they've created here, allows you to pass in that particular piece. So you can pass in a much more complex object. And over here on the app, modal.bind show modal, and this is the content for the modile. So in our particular instance, I guess this is more of a universal modile. So let's change you over, refactor you to be just, we'll call you a generic modile. Generic modile.svelte. All right. So from here, we're going to go back over to our sale complete or a sale page. And when someone completes a sale on the sale form, we want to actually complete that. So we'll do similar to what they do here. We'll create a bind to show modile. Show modile equals true, bind to show modile. So we need to import the modile and add show modile to false. So let's do that up here in our sales form. We'll import modal from, and we called ours generic modal. So in our sales form, we will say generic modile from $, library, interfaces. We need to wrap you in quotes. So interfaces, and then, no, I'm sorry, it's not interfaces, components, and then generic modile. So now we've imported our generic modile, show modile equals false. We'll add that here to our list of variables. And then from here, we're going to set show modile equal to true, and we'll add this additional modile down here. So if there's an offer, and we'll just create a generic bind to show modile equals false. Now we should probably bind to two different ones, one for a success and one for not, but I don't think we're really going to have an example when it's not. So instead of modile here, this would be generic modile, bind to show modile, header, We'll call this sale complete. And again, based on this, and we should make some modifications here. So we should say something along the lines of like, you bought X number of units. So when that show mode aisle equals true, we automatically refresh the page. But let's actually add in a weighting. The svelte offer, svelte kit, let's offer a delay. Set timeout. So in Angular and React, you can use what are known as, why can't I remember the term, promises to do that. But I don't want to assume that that is the approach that everyone takes. Some people don't prefer it, some people do, and promises just create a delay. So yeah, play audio after timeout. Yeah, they use the set timeout here. That seems to be what they're more comfortable with, at least within the documentation. So not to if sale ID, we're going to set timeout here after 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds, it'll complete the sale. We'll actually change that up to 3 seconds. And we're going to do the success mode aisle equals here. So after 3 seconds, you're going to reload the page. But before we do that, we're going to set show mode aisle equal to true. So yeah, right here. So equals true. So then we'll come down here. We'll display the sale that is complete. And we don't need to do an ordered list. To be fair, we don't need to do anything in particular, but let's not create something really simple in here, a div, and inside of our div, we want to say you successfully purchased, and we want to grab the units, X or whatever units of, and then we need the product name. And I guess in theory we could actually find out who originally created the product, but I don't know if we want to display that. Some variations I've seen actually display the email address, but I think in this day and age that would be kind of frowned upon. You don't want to tell people who you bought it from. You could, and in that particular point, we would probably add another layer to this. So when a person created an account, we would give both a username, if you will, and an email address. But since we only went with email address, and I don't think it would be okay to display that, so we would just say display sale complete. So let's go ahead and test out all of this code. So we'll go ahead and move you over to the right, come back over here to our browser. Let's refresh. Let's buy 2 of the units. There you go. So now it displays the sale is successful, but it looks like we're missing some of our context. Let's take a look at the documentation again. So H2, close modile. So let's go over here to our modile.svelte and header and slot. So let's look at our page. So we have a header and a div. Header sale complete. I wonder if spacing comes into play. We should also probably do the price for, and we'll do the same thing. We will do a calculate price, but we actually want to display the actual price. which is going to be, yeah, US dollar format of the total. Yep, the US dollar format of the total. For format to US dollar, and then display the total. Let's see. Maybe there's a spacing issue that I forgot. So let's purchase one of these. Oof. No, not quite right. The OK button is fine. Oh, I know what's wrong. I left in my stupid alert. Yep. So we set the modal equal to true. We have to go back now and update our list. Let's create some, add a ridiculous number of units. Let's go for like 20, 200 units. So that way, as we do our testing, it won't create a problem. Come back, refresh, 200 units. Let's purchase 2. You sell, look, there's our successful. Oop, went a little too fast. I think 3 seconds is not long enough. So let's change you over to 10 seconds. And try again. So we purchased, let's do 3 units. We click purchase. It displays our modile. It says you successfully purchased 3 units of blah, blah, blah. And it tells you the total. And when you click close modile, it does. And then it refreshes the page. So, and we should probably just leave it up until the person closes the modile. So when they hit close modile, it should probably refresh the page. Let's see if we can figure out how to do that. Open animation button dialog.close. And does that ever pass up whether or not the modal is actually closed? But let's add a couple more features to our buttons. So let's go to our sales form. Let's adjust our buttons so that they look a bit better. And then let's also go ahead and see how in Svelte we can pass items back up. Svelte kit pass data to parent, from child to parent. So how to pass data from child to parent with 2 Svelte components. So if your one component, bind header, and in your Svelte component you have the header. I see. And you can provide a Svelte header function as a property to Svelte component, which sets the value of the header. So set Svelte header, one click, set header. You can use store to do it. You can boilerplate an unnecessary code. Let's see. So header, this header component, wrap component, import writable. I see. From O, that passes it back to the store. And again, it would be great if I needed a larger store, but we're just passing it back up. So let's see how we can figure that out. Input type placeholder, bind value. Note that you're updating the value in the parent. You'll see that updating the value in the parent also shows up in the child. So the best way to understand the bind is that it doesn't make a copy. It is the same one. Oh, I see. So can you therefore, let's see, when you, I see in generic model, on close, we set show model equals to false. So what we would do is we would also create an export let reload, and that would also be a Boolean. So we would bind an additional variable, it looks like. So bind this, we're binding the dialog, and so then if we come back here to our sales form, bind show model, and Let's also bind reload page. Bind reload. Actually, we'll call you reload page, and we'll call you reload page here. Though I feel like, actually, no. You know what we can do is, I wonder if there's a way in svelte, actually. Svelte kit. Let's see if there's a way to monitor variable change. So, when a variable changes, how do we monitor that? Reactive declarations are executed in batch. So, if rendered, we'll sort the declarations in dependency order. As you change, I see. So, if rendered, update value, validate. Explicitly defining the dependency. So I guess we could do, we're not looking to change anything, we are looking to run code though. So, let's see. In our script we have our to-dos. Dynamically generating to-dos from data. That's fine. But script to-dos, it brings them in. Input function remove to do. Yeah, I'm not looking quite for that. I need to know in the JavaScript. Let's take a look. So $to do colon to dos equals length completed to dos. To look like so. Let's take a look at how this all comes together. So there's a working example that we can take a look at right here. So function do something, $name do something. So every time the word changes, console log date. Oh, I see. So this is how we would modify it. So in our script, when show model changes over here on the form, we don't actually need to bind reload page. What we want to do is every time show model changes, we want to modify show modile, and we're going to create a new function, const reload page. It doesn't accept any variables, and all it's going to do is window.location.reload. So whenever someone, actually, and we should monitor it, if show modile is equal to false, we should make sure this works, because what's going to happen, I'm hoping, is that it won't keep refreshing the page. So we're here, we refresh on products, we click buy. Ooh, there's an internal error, and I guess it's probably because it's re-rendering all the time. Window.relocation.reload. Window is not defined. What? Let's take a look. Window is not defined. JS reload page. I thought it was window.location.reload. Yeah. I guess it's just location.reload. But I thought it was window.location.reload. But let's see if it's still grumpy about that. Nope, wait. Still grumpy. $location is not defined. What is that? It's been done so many times. Yeah, it's window.location.reload. Why are you having so much trouble with it? Oh, so I see. It's trying to run it immediately before the page is finished loading, and that's what I was worried about. So we only want to run it when show modile changes. Let's see. Let's take a look at how they differentiate. Because we bind it. And at this particular point, I'm thinking that it might be easier to just bind our reload page. Yeah, let's do that instead. So we'll actually do two things here. So we will actually create a reload page variable. Let reload page equal to true. Oh, equals false. And then we will monitor it. And when reload page, we'll call you the reload page function for short. And when reload page is true, we'll reload the page. And to keep track of it, what we'll do is we'll bind reload page, and then in our generic modile, we'll have an export let reload page, of course, equal to Boolean. And then that matches that. Show modile Boolean. Export let. Show model, reload page, show modile. Let's see. How can you bind to multiple things? Let's see. Svelte kit bind to multiple variables. Two-way binding. Let's see if there's input value svelte kit send multiple variables to component. Though I imagine you would pass a object rather than a single thing. So let's not pass prompts. Pass multiple parameters. Nope. Pass multiple parameters. Oh, come on. Pass multiple parameters to component. Let's see. Pass multiple parameters. No. Find data from multiple component props. Let's see. Svelte kit. Pass multiple parameters to component. Multiple params in svelte kit. Pass multiple parameters inside. Wait, nope, not React. Only accept a single parameter. I wonder if you have to wrap it. Script. Use example. Actions can only accept if you need multiple. Yep. I'm going to have to pass a larger object as a whole, I think. So show modile equals a Boolean. And so let's call these the modile properties. Let's call them modile props. And they're going to be equal to the object of show modile which is going to be set to false, and reload page, which is going to be set to false. And then we will pass the whole modal props. And let's create a small interface for it, which is just a little bit of an overkill, but just to kind of keep in line with what we've been doing. So modal props dot interface dot svelte. All right, we'll add it. So we're in modal props. Let's mimic what we've done over here. Sale modal props. All right. And it's just going to consist of two things. It's going to consist of a show modal, which is just going to be a Boolean, and a reload page, which is going to be a Boolean. And we'll just go ahead and import you, come back over to sale. You're going to be a type of modal. Hold up. Grabbed too much code. You're going to be a type of modal props. We'll use our context actions to import them. You should be happy there. And now we can come back over to our generic and say that you, show modal, are modal props, and import you. So that means when we come over here and edit you, you're going to say that the modal props dot show modal is going to be equal to false. Oops. We should instead give you a more specific name. We shall call you modal props, and it shall be good. So modal props dot show modal, and then show modal So that's show modal. So that'll handle that piece. But we need to come back over here to our sale form, and we need to say that if ID equals this, then modal props dot show modal is equal to true. If show modal or modal props dot reload page, and you need to monitor modal props dot reload page, and you're going to bind to just modal props. So now we need to make an adjustment. Let's come over here to our generic modal. So when you close, you're going to set modal props equal to false. And actually, we could just set the whole of modal props equal to the two values. It's going to be equal to show modal of false and it's going to be equal to reload page of true. And that's what that will be equal to. Awesome. Nice. So let's see if that works. So we refresh the page. We have the number of units. We purchase. We have our modal, which displays it. When we close the modal, it refreshes the screen. There we go. It does feel a little weird. I think we might be able to do it with a spread operator, but this isn't terrible for right now. So we have a successful, we don't have it dealing with errors, but we have everything else that's going fairly successfully. We've loaded in our League of Legends. We have it accepting the sale. And then lastly, when we go to an account page, we don't have that set up, but let's go ahead and create our account page. Svelte isn't terrible. The page layout is pretty specific though, so I guess it looks pretty clean. We'll create a new directory here called account. That'll create the route for us. And in here we'll create a new plus page dot svelte. And then we need to go ahead and add our page, which will load in all of our all of our items that have been purchased. So similar to what we've done over here on our other page svelte, we'll create some generic content. Actually, we will create a component to hold all of our information. So we will call you the offers. No, we will call you the sales table dot svelte. Add to you. Come back over here to the account page, and we'll grab, just like we've done before, an account. We'll come back over to here. We need an account endpoint, don't we? Yes, we do. So we have an account endpoint over here in our sale folder, and we have a controller which says get sale by user ID. And when we get a sale by a user ID, what we need to send over is, it's a get request on the sale endpoint, and we need to send over just the sale user. So let's come back over here to our shared folder. We need to create, we have the sale endpoint, and it's going to be a get request, so we're good there. So over here on our account page, our page.ts, we need the sale endpoint. We'll call you the sale full URL, and we have the base URL and the sale endpoint. And what we're going to pass in is the sale user. Now, just like on the other pages, we need to get the information from inside of the user. So in our page.ts, page.svelte, nope, we need to come over here to our sales form. There it is. We need to pull in the get and the we need the get and the user info, etc. from this. So let's come back over here to account. And they don't actually explain, I guess we'll just put it up here as the import. And the sale user is going to be, we need to get the sale. So we need to go back to our form. We'll get the user. Come back over here to our page.typescript. So we'll say the user is going to be userinfo.get. Do we let people get here without otherwise? So yeah, let's create that. If there's no user, then let's throw an error that the user is not found. Yep, user not found. And we'll keep that user not found. And of course, we can make that look much prettier down the road. So we'll just say user not found. Otherwise, we're going to grab the user and pass it along to our endpoint. From here, we're going to do a fetch, normal get request. We're going to get the user sales from the back end. And I guess we'll just display it. Yeah, we'll just return user sales. So we don't need page. Yeah, this will return our user sales. And then our page.svelte, similar to our other pages, we'll just grab the information and ultimately display it. We should probably... Ooh, wait, now hold on a second. I think an account consists of more than just the user ID. We need to specifically say user.id. So let's come back over here to our page.ts. And this is still valid because, of course, when you get the user, if it's an empty, now hold on a second. Now I have to think through this. If we go back over here to our layout, we should probably set the user to null rather than an empty. And back over here, when we created our store, user should be equal to null. Token is fine, so that means in our layout, you're fine to be set to null. So when they're logged out, the logic that we're going to go for is if there's no user, that's fine. But if there is a user, it's going to be user._ID, not just straight user. So when we come back, we come over here to our page. We don't have a products data, but we do have our data. Now additionally, we could display some additional information. I think what we'll do is display the username and their list of products. But you're going to be called the sales table, is what we'll call the final output. Sales table, and we're going to call you sales, and it's going to be equal to data user sales. Now we need to come over here to our sales table, and we're just going to mimic the products table. So we'll grab all of you, come back over here to our sales table, let sales, and if the sales exist and sales are greater than 0, now the pieces that we bring back from this, that's what we have to figure out. Sales, and sales as single sale. But let's go ahead and take a look at the schema real quick. So on our back end here, sale schema, a sale is going to consist of a sale user, a sale offer, the product, and the units. And when we return it to the front end, in our sales service, we're going to grab that sale offer and sale product. Now I don't know what that complete object is going to look like, so what we're going to do is we're going to trigger that and just look at the data that's brought back, and then we can kind of go from there. In the meantime, we can kind of, I guess, we'll cut this out for now and save this. Now I guess, yeah, we'll wait, because what we'll do is we'll create a type for this, an interface for this in TypeScript for an individual sale or an array of sales, and so forth and so on. We'll come back to our page.ts. It's unhappy about the ID piece, and I think, yeah, you're unhappy about the ID piece. You're going to be type user null. Yeah. So let's see if it allows me to do that. Let's see. Show. No, it won't let me. All right. We'll hold off for that. I've been running into weird little issues with TypeScript that I need to investigate. I figured out some things, but not everything. So we come over here to our page svelte. We'll mimic exactly what we did over here on this svelte page and import our almost complete component. So we'll do that up here. And it's going to be called the sales table from sales table.svelte. And there we go. Let's take a look. Account, user not found. Let's come back here. Let's go to account. There we go. So we have an account page. Let's do an inspect here to see what data came back. Hold on a second. We could put it in multiple places, but we'll put it right here. We'll do a console.log of user sales. And over here on our console, we can do go to account. Yep, there we go. That's weird. So let's go back. If we refresh, we get a user not found. I don't think that's the best approach. If we go forward, we go to account. It works fine that way, but if you refresh the page, we don't keep the account up. I know why. I remember now. We kept the user in local storage, and it doesn't keep it. So we need to see what's happening here. So let's console.log our user object to see what's going on. Let's see. Come back over to here, refresh. Nothing. Nothing at all. I don't see nothing. Let's console.log something. Hello? Let's see if it figures it out. Let's refresh. We're not hitting this at all. Product props. We don't need, they're not the right properties. So let's take you away and see if we get a tune out of this trombone. Nothing. But if we, now it fools it. Oh, it takes a moment. I guess it takes a moment. Let's take a look at that in svelte. Let's see. Svelte delay on load. Yep, let's leave this page. Yeah, loading delay. So let's see. Oh, we should do a is loading thing so we can display something while it's loading. Let's see if there's any additional. While loading equals true. And then we would change the loading. I see. If loading. All right. So maybe we change our loading, but let's not quite get there yet. Right now we want to take a look. So we do have we do have this array. Let's take a look at what it looks like. We get back the sale offer, the sale product, the sale units, and the sale user. And we're fine with that. We're not missing anything either. We get back the ID. We want to know the product. So I guess we should make a column that consists, or columns that consist of the product. Let's do the product description. And we want, do we want the product category? No, I don't think we really care about the product category. Maybe somebody does, but we don't. And then we want to know the price. So we want to know the price that we bought it from, and the quantity that we ordered, and the total. Do we even keep the total? You know, that's sad. That's sad. I realize that we totally forgot to keep the total. So let's go ahead and let's add that in real quick. But for the moment, we'll also calculate it. And I guess it's not really necessary. It's a small thing. We'll actually let it go. We'll let it go for right now. What we will end up doing then is here on the account page, let's go ahead and change the table. So we're going to keep the product description, the price, the quantity, and the total. And we'll add those columns in here. Quantity and the total. Awesome. So now, when we come back over here to the table, inside of our little loop, over here on the page, in the sales table, let's loop through our data. And our data is going to consist of a few things. Let's look here. This is what the entire object consists of. Let's grab this whole object and paste it inside of Notepad so that we can refer back to it. So we have the sale user, sale offer. So then let's look at our code. We have a single sale. So we can say single sale. And first we have the product. So we can say .sale product .product name. So that'll be the product name. We need the product description. So we'll just copy you. We're not redirecting. Oh, we could. We'll add a link to the original product. So product, and then this gets the product description. And let's modify the product offers. So when we go to product from the main page, you are in the product offers table. No, you are in the products table, and what you're going to get is a product ID. So yeah, we're going to keep you. We're going to grab that, and when someone clicks on the product name, we're going to display the product. So we'll come over here. When they click on the product name, we will have the product and redirect to the product ID. So it will be single sale product underscore ID. We'll make that linkable. And so then we have our product, which is linkable, product description. We need to display the price, and that comes from the offer. So we would say single sale offer, and then offer price. And then we need to display the quantity that was purchased, which is going to be the sale units. So it's just single sale units. And that will give us the quantity and the total. I think I'm missing something. Yeah, I'm totally missing something. I fat fingered something. I deleted the description in the process of doing that. So we'll just re-grab you, paste you here, and then do .product description. Awesome. And last thing for total is we'll use a little function up here called calculate total, and just pass into it the price and the quantity, and we could do that down there inside the curly braces, but I'm just not going to. The price is going to be a number and the quantity is going to be a number, and when we adjust this, we need to tell it that it's a TypeScript file. So we can come over here to our page and say language equals TS. We'll copy you. Come back over here to our page.svelte. I'll say you're a TypeScript file, and for you, you're also a TypeScript file. Then we'll just return price times quantity. So then when we go to calculate total, we could just say calculate total and pass in those things. So you're going to be the units times the price. Units price, and I actually think I did that backwards. So it should be offer price and then sale units. So that will give us all of our sale information, and let's go ahead and, like I said, create an interface for an individual sale. So we'll come back over here to our file, and we will call you sale. Oh, wait, I think I have one. I do. A sale consists of an ID. Ooh, this clashes. Let's call this a user sale rather than a single sale. Let's create a user sale, and it's only because a sale is the TypeScript object that we sent that we send it back to the server, and that actually is this data, whereas a user sale is a much larger and more complex object. So we're going to come back over here, and it's going to be TypeScript again. We'll call you a user sale, if I can ever spell it correctly, which clearly I can't. It's going to also have an ID. It's going to have a sale offer, but the sale offer is just going to be an existing offer. We have that object already. A sale product is just going to be a product, and we have that object already. And WebStorm is nice enough to import everything for us, so we don't have to do anything there. The sale user is just going to be a generic MongoDB string or ID. The sale units are going to be a number, and we're good. So now we can come back over to our sale table and say that the sales is going to be an array of sale users. We'll import, and voila. So now when we go to take a look at everything, one, it still breaks, and we have to figure out how we can do that. It's really bunched together, but you have your product description, your price, quantity, and your total. And we forgot to actually convert our totals over into US dollars. Clearly you can convert it over to whatever depending upon what you want to design, but we also want to, let's take a look at this real quick while we're in here. Let's spread you out a little bit wider. So we have our table here. Width, we say the width is 500. Yeah, let's spread you out, and also let's change you width, max width of 24. Yeah, let's take all that away. Let's not have a max width. Let's come back over here to our table. Let's do no max width, and don't we max? Let's do large. Yeah, that should potentially be wider, give us more space, and we needed to do the dollars. So let's come back over here. We do it on product at the top. I keep clicking on the wrong files. So in our sales form, at the top of that, we have this little variable for dollars. So we say let US dollars equal. We create a new international number format, convert it over to US dollars. We grab that, come over here to our sales table, add that, or copy it really, paste it, come back over here and say when we do the calculate total, and to be fair, we could actually just put it up here and have it so that it returns it does it rather than doing it down there. Though I don't think it really matters. Returns US dollar dot format the price times the quantity. Save you. It looks a little bit better. Still really jumbled. There's the product, our product description, our price, our quantity, and our total. It's still so tiny. I don't like that at all. Let's do medium. Let's do that. And then here, nope, I don't like that either. Let's just delete it. It's super wide though, way too wide. But it's guessed it's a little bit better. It's still super wide, but there's our total. And oh yeah, we forgot to do the US dollars for the price. So we can just do the same thing. We can say offer price is going to be US dollars, wrap it in parentheses. Let's go back to account. I messed. Oh, it's US dollar dot format. That's on me. That's my bad. US dollar dot format. And there's our price. There's our quantity. There's our total. So that gives us the sales. I guess we can start adding or sprucing things up, if you will. If one logs out, there's no user account found, search. So I think this is the basics of what I wanted to do. Oh, I know what I wanted to do next is have it so that people can create a product. And you can only do that once you're logged in. So let's log in, account, and let's create the page for offer. So we'll come over here, we'll do a new route. Nope. Sorry about that. It should be routes, and it should be a new directory. We'll call you offer. Yep. And inside of offer, we'll create a new file. We'll have two. We'll have page.svelte. And then we'll create. Nope, that should be it. We just need the form, similar to when we're doing a sale. There's not really anything that we want to load. And please, by no means am I a master of Svelte. I am just kind of figuring things out as I go because I've, just learning Svelte. So we'll have the user. We need to go ahead and create a very ugly additional piece here so that when a person is logged in, they will see the account and they will see offer. And we wanted to sell my product. And there it is. Again, it's jumbled up together and I will have to fix it. And I don't know if I care enough to fix it just yet. But we're getting all the functionality in place and then we can make it prettier later. So account works, search works, league. When we search for it, that works. When we go to buy a product, that works. Purchase, we get a little modile. Close the modile. Refreshes the page. We can go to my account and see everything that we just purchased. And then the next piece is going to be to sell my product, which takes you over to offer. And we don't have anything on offer yet. So let's go ahead and create that. And all it's going to be is a simple form that allows someone to create an offer. Since we've done similar forms before, we'll steal pieces of it from the login page. Give me one moment. All right. So we'll steal these pieces from the login page and create the offer. So in this particular instance, we want to allow people to select a category. After they select a category, we want to then be able to say what specific products from that category. So it's going to be kind of a two-stage thing. So we're going to first get a category, a product. We need, and then the next pieces we need are the offer units, which by default we want to be set to at least one. We want the offer price. It should probably be set to 0 by default. An offer description. And so with this one, we're actually going to play around with a couple of things. One, when a person creates a new product, we're going to dynamically show an additional form that lets them pick an option. Or should we do a modile? I think from a functionality perspective, I don't know if it really matters, but I think we can keep it visually cleaner by when they select a new product, we give them a modile with a form that upon them clicking, new product, it will just give them a modile and let them put in the product. We don't need a token. So where do we want to go from here? There's no login piece, so we can get rid of you. We do have a form button create offer is what the button will say, and when they do on click, we'll call it create offer, and that will be the name of the function. We're going to bind no login, no password, but we are going to bind to a few things. So let's see. First, we need to pick a category, and we'll have to create a drop down for that. From here, we're going to display a product, but that's not ready yet. So we can at least create the other pieces beforehand. And we're going to say this is going to be the units. So we have the offer units here. And here we're going to do the offer price. And then we're going to do the offer description. Now, the input type is just going to be a text here for the units. Text here. We're going to do a type, and I apologize, it's not going to be a type. It's going to be a type of number. Price is going to be a type of number. And the value is going to be equal to offer units. And you're going to be equal to offer price. And this is just the two-way binding that's built into Svelte, which is kind of nice. Most of the frameworks seem to have some type of two-way binding. I guess React isn't officially two-way binding. Angular does have it though, so you can do the same thing in Angular. And then for the offer description, we'll come in here and create a text area. We'll say text area. And you will bind to the offer description. Text area. Bind to the offer description. Placeholder. No placeholder. Yeah, we'll do a placeholder of descriptions. Price. Units available. And then up here, we need to create a drop down for the category. We've done one before. We'll just grab it from there. And then we'll say an if products here. So we'll do an if statement, if product. And then we'll end that if down here. And we'll create the pieces for that. Bind to category. So let's go ahead and go back to our main page and see. We need to grab all the categories. So on mount to search. So let's do an on mount here where we grab all the categories. So same setup. When we come back here to this, and maybe now that I think about it, we might want to change our others to an on mount as well. But so let's come back. Let's focus. So we have our on mount function where we get the categories. We'll take the same thing from here. We'll grab the category URL. We'll come back over here to offer. We'll keep you. So there's our category URL. And then let's go ahead and build the search, fetch. We'll get the categories, and how do we display them? We use this simple select here. And then we come back over here to our offer page and use that same loop here to display categories. And we create our categories as a variable up here. And it's going to be category array. So that's will display our list of categories. They can only select from those that are available in the dropdown. And then when they select a category, we need to do an onChange event. But we're unhappy about something before we get there. So refresh. Undefined is not iterable. And let's take a look at why. On mount, we fetch from the URL. We get all the categories. We loop through all the categories. And let's see. Still unhappy about something. What are you unhappy about? Create offer is not defined. Oh, I know why. There it is. So it's the fact that create offer is not defined. Let's create that little function as a stub. Create offer. There we go. So now it's stubbed out. So what is unhappy about now? An empty if block. And we'll just put something in here as a spacer so that it doesn't feel unhappy. That's happy. A element should have an href tag. Where's that at? A element should have an href element. Let's go back over here to our layout. It's grumpy about something. Oh, I see. Href should be equal to this. And for those who don't know, you can just put an empty hashtag in there. It doesn't like that. It does not like that. So can we just do a link? I don't think it's going to like it empty either. Undefined is not iterable. I don't think it's the same though. So let's just leave you as you are. And let's come back over here to our offer and see what's grumpy about. So categories is equal to a loop of category. Undefined is not iterable. Oh, in TypeScript I need to define it as an empty. Silly me. So here's our offer form. We have categories. We don't want in all categories for this one. You have to pick one. And let's see, in svelte, how do you have a default option? So let's see in SvelteKit. SvelteKit options. SvelteKit select. Let's do a default value. Default value and placeholder. If placeholder. So we do a placeholder. Right. But we don't want a placeholder in this instance. So let options. I see. So you have to pick one. I see. And then selected equals find selected ID. All right, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. And so then selected is that. So how did it know which one was the default? Oh, it's equal to selected ID. I see. So yeah, let's just do selected ID is 0 to start. So categories bind to category, and its default is going to be 0. So then now, I guess there isn't one. Selected ID is not going to be 0. I know. We'll get the categories, and we need to get the first ID. So let's go ahead and grab that. And let's do just, let's say category is going to be equal to categories. And we should probably check that. If categories, and actually we'll use a ternary statement. We'll say category is equal to categories and categories dot length, because arrays are always true, greater than 0. Then if it is, then we will use category position 0 or nothing. We'll start there. Assignable to a number. Oh, categories.0 dot ID. And I misspelled categories. And let's see, are you okay with that? To a number. If categories ID is not a number. And there we go. So now we come back. It's set to books. Cool. And we should probably do a couple of things. So I guess we should have, you're right, we should probably not pick a category and say that the default is equal to please select a category. So option value is equal to nothing, and then say please select a category. That way they'll have to pick one. It won't allow for empty. Yep, please select the category. And then when they select one, we'll do an onChange event. OnChange. And that onChange event is going to be a function which gets all the products. Get products for a particular category. Const get products. It's unhappy about this onChange event. So let's see why. When we hover over you, it is not assignable to a type select. So let's see. Let's look up SvelteKit. Select onChange. And onChange ordering. So select on::change. No wonder it's on::change rather than onChange. And then we'll get the products. When this happens, we'll do a const response, and we'll actually go out and fetch equals await fetch. We're only going to use it inside here, but we'll say const. Excuse me for one moment. We'll say a const up here. We will say we want the products full URL, and that's going to be equal to the base URL, and we want to get the products endpoint, which I don't think we get yet, and we might need to create. We do. So let's go back and take a look at our code for the back end. We have our user, we have our product, and I think it's just called product, not products. Yep, it's just product. So it's product endpoint, not products endpoint. Let's go over here to offer product endpoint, and it doesn't exist yet. Come back over here to our library, our shared, our endpoints, and let's create one. Export const product endpoint. It's just going to be equal to /product. Now, one of the things that I did not do, because I didn't think about this ahead of time, is we get names and descriptions by category, I believe. So let's take a look at this. Maybe I did think about it ahead of time. So when we say get names and description by category, we search for a product by name. And if the category exists, we add it. So get by name, description, category. But we actually need an endpoint called get by category. Now I think ultimately that's going to be a huge, huge list. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And this is going to be, instead of search DTO, this is going to be called the category search DTO. And it's going to consist of a category search DTO object. It's going to return a promise of a list of products. Now, we haven't done anything yet, but let's create the query. It's going to be let category. Let category query equal to, it's going to be an object, and it's going to be, since we have our database structure over here, we also have it over here. So for each product schema, you're going to have a product category, which is going to be equal to a Mongo ID. So we can say product category equal to, and we can do this, new, we'll just follow this, is equal to curly bracket, the new type of a category search DTO, and it's going to be the category ID. So let's not veer too far from here, and let's create a new DTO file. New, we'll call it category search dot DTO dot TS. We'll add it in. Similar to the search product, we will call you the, instead of product, search product, we'll call you, category search DTO. And you're only going to have a category ID, and it is required. It cannot be empty. That is not empty. Cool. So we'll do some little cleanup here. We'll reference the category search DTO. We'll import it, and it needs to return a promise. No. So I think I'm missing something here. Oh, yes, I am. I have an extra curly bracket in here. Do I? I think I'm off. Yes, I am off. I have an extra curly bracket. So here's our category query, and then let's actually do the query where we bring back all this information. So we'll just copy the same query that we have down here, and you return from product model the category query. So that's the get by category, and we need to create the proper endpoint for that. So we'll create another at get endpoint, product. We'll call it by category as the endpoint, and we'll call it get by category, and it's going to be a query again, similar to what we have down below, at query, and it's going to consist of a, we'll call it the category search DTO of type category search DTO, and it's going to return the promise of a product, or a list, an array of products. Promise of a product array, and then inside of here, we're going to return this dot product service dot get by category, and we'll just pass in our entire category search DTO object. Awesome. So we'll request a product. We'll make it lowercase. We'll say by category, and when they do that get request, so it'll be product by category. We'll come over here, our service returns it. We'll check for anything over here. We're good here. We're good here. Let's check our command line. Looks like everything is running correctly. 0 errors found, and it's watching the file for changes. Very cool. All right. So on the front end, we need to create a new endpoint, get product endpoint, and we'll say export const. We'll call it the product category search endpoint. And that's kind of long-winded, but it's fine. And we'll just put the full thing product.by category. And we'll use that instead. We'll come back over here to our offer page, and this is the endpoint we want. So when we go to get products, we're going to fetch all of the products that match that category, and we'll actually change you over. So you're not products, you're not the full URL. You're going to be, the full URL is going to be here where we grab the, we'll call you products full URL, and it's going to be equal to, and we'll use string literals. It takes the product URL and we'll add on the following items. We'll add on a category ID, and it's going to be equal to what? The category that they've sent back. So you're going to await this, and for await to work, we need asynchronous here. So you're going to get the full list of the products back, and then we're going to display them in another select box down here as a div. So once they select, we'll grab this select from here and we'll just mimic it again. We'll on change. We're not going to get products again though. We're going to give them the option of saying category, but instead we're going to say products. Yep, right here we'll do products, and we'll offer them two options. So we'll say please select a product, or we'll give them an additional option to create a new product. And we'll give this the value of 0. And now we'll add a on change that will monitor for that. So we'll do an on change that will look for, we'll say new product. And that's going to create our modal for us going down the road. We'll create a stub for it in the meantime. So const new product. We'll create an asynchronous. It doesn't need to be asynchronous. We'll just create a stub for it for the time being, and we'll tie in a modal that we'll add in a little bit later. In this particular instance, so replace that. And then instead of this, we need to create the list of products. So let products. We already have a interface for products. It's going to be equal to an empty array. So we're going to come over here and say if product, if products, then, we don't want if products and products.length is greater than 0, because of course arrays are always going to be true in JavaScript and TypeScript. So once we do that, we say products. We'll do a single product here. And then we want the single product ID, but we also want the single product name. So we'll say single product, and then we'll say product name. And I guess we could actually put the description in there, but like we don't really need to. So and it gives us our offer units, and it will dynamically display our products. Let's actually display that information. Let's see how this all comes together. So we'll say products are going to be equal to, we're going to await the response.json. Now we're missing a whole bunch of error handling in here that ultimately I think would be something that you would put in a different environment. Hold on a second. We need to bind this to product. So that's going to be interesting, because what we're going to have to do is when we come back, we'll let the person, we'll give them a modal, we'll let the person create the product, and then when they come back, we need to bind to that new product value. So we'll have to play around with that, because we may need to, after they create the product, do a fetch again to get the products for that particular category and then assign it. But we'll wait for right now. Let's take a look and see if we got this working. So select games. We failed. I failed. All right, let's take a look. So on change should run get products. Let's see what's happening here. Console.log products. On change should run get products. On change. So let's see what is happening here. Let's go to our console. We select games. We're getting a bad request. Category ID should not be empty. Let's take a look at what. All right. Request by category. Category ID equals blah, blah, blah. I see. So we bind to category, but it's not set yet. I think there's an issue here. First of all, I guess we should capture that so that it doesn't send an empty request to our backend. If there's no category, just return. So that won't let that happen. Next, let's look in Svelte about what's going on. So Svelte kit. Select on change. On change bind value is late. Let's try that. If on change is before. Oh, I see. So we need to move the event handler. So the on change is happening before the bind event, and so we have to rearrange those. So if we put the on change after the bind event, that's good to know. So we need to do the same thing down here for our product select. If we do the on change before the product, we'll refresh. When we select a product, there's no books, but there are games, and there we go. There on our screen is our products. So now we can select a product, either create a new League of Legends or create new. And just so we can see how that works, please select a product, games, and there's our product list. Very nice. So we can either say create a new project or League of Legends. And then it takes it away when there's none. So let's go ahead and we might be able to finish it. I got another 15 minutes of streaming, and then let's create the modal, or try to create the modal for this. So we will at least start on the process. So the only other place we've done a modal is on the, so we have the component for it, but the only other place that we've done a modal is on the sale page. So we'll kind of use that as the basis here. We'll come back over here to our sale form where we've done it before, and we'll import the generic modal that we've used before. Come over here to the offer page. Let's import the generic modal here. We do need the user, but we don't need it yet. We don't need the redirect yet. There's a lot of little things that I think I'm missing in this development process that would make it like a refined product. So things like if the user tries to go to the offer page and they haven't logged in, they won't be able to do an offer, so forth and so on. Lots of little things that I think make a polished product that you end up, I think when you're doing your homegrown development, you don't always want to put the effort into. But I think, again, for some of the next few projects as I work on them, I'll try to add a little bit more polish. It'll slow things down and be a little bit boring, but it'll kind of, I think, show the long-winded process and how, like, from a professional perspective, why these things take so long, especially when you want to make a kind of clean product that looks good. You want to spend the time and the energy to really kind of polish off some of this stuff. I'm kind of excluding it right now, again, for speed purposes, but it's something that you definitely want to polish. So where were we? We imported our generic model, and then we want to go ahead and we created a type of model props, which includes the show mobile and the reload page. So let's grab those same model props and we'll use those again. We don't need to reload the page for this particular one, but we do want to show the mobile. We'll go back over here to our offer. We'll create that same property here. We'll import our TypeScript model, and then we'll come back over to our form and finish the piece. So basically, like we've done before, we have this generic model which we bind to modal props. This feels a little bit weird. I guess you could do the same thing in almost any of the frameworks, so like React or Angular, but this feels like it's in the wrong place. Normally, I would kind of put this off into its own thing, but in this particular instance, we'll follow the way that Svelte did in their example. So we'll go to the bottom of our offer page, and we'll add it down here as generic model, bind the model props, and we'll say the name of the header is new product. And then inside of here, we'll create a small form. We'll actually use the existing form framework to kind of create our basic form. So we have our div, and we'll grab two of these boxes. And for product, you just need a product name and description, and we'll grab the product category. So we'll have the product name. Hopefully, put it down in here. Product name. And now, because we're doing it this way, the question that comes to mind for me is, do we store our variables here, or do we store them inside of the generic modile? We'll have to play around with that because I don't have an answer for that. So we have our product name. Product name and product description. And for the product description, we'll use a little text area here. So product name and product description. But I don't know the answer to that just yet, like about whether we would put the information up here. I guess since technically we're in the same area, we can put it up here at the top. So let's try that first. We'll give a little bit of a comment here so people can know the difference. This is the offer main page variables, and then we'll create a second down here. We will call these the product modile variables, so that anyone looking at this later, well, just me looking at this later, will know what's going on. And we'll create, this is going to be the product name. It's going to be equal to a string, and then this is going to be the product description. And that's also going to be equal to a string. So we have our product name, product description, and we'll just get the category from up above. So now let's see if this will work, if this bind will work, or whether it will have a fit. Offer name, and you will be product description. So we have that. Let's do this as a text area. All right. Cool. And we'll call the placeholder is product description. Cool. Product description. And this will be product name. So these are our placeholders. We don't have a button yet, though. We should have a button. And we should allow people to change it. That's going to be kind of crucial for us. Now, this is why you, again, run into the problem with some of the generic modiles. Very specifically, my generic modile is I grabbed one from Svelte. But for most generic modiles, you would want something that allows you to change this little close button to something else. And we might actually do that. So rather than just bind our existing properties, so we have our modile properties here, we can make this a much more advanced, I don't want to say much more, let's not hype ourselves up, just a slightly, ever so slightly more advanced version of our modile. We will have the reload page, and then we'll have in here we'll call it the close button text, and it'll be equal to a string. And we'll then come over here to our generic modile and say, when there isn't anything there, go ahead and use this text. So that way, when we go ahead and create our additional button, we can come down here, and I'll throw it into a function so that it's, I don't, there's a weird part of me that in my head wants to keep a lot of this code not inside, just randomly generated inside here, because it feels cluttered to me. So we'll come up here and we'll call this the close modile final text, and all it'll simply do is it will say if the user, if modile props dot close button text, or actually we'll do a return statement. So we'll say return, and we'll use a ternary statement. So if modile props dot close button text exists, then return it. Otherwise, we'll just return close modile, and then we'll just call it down here. We'll just say curly bracket close model text, and yeah. Looks like I need to update this if I'm going to add additional properties, though. So we'll say close model.show modile is equal to false. And let's come down here. It looks like we're going to need to make this slightly more advanced. So, and then we'll say modile props.reload page is equal to true. So we'll do that. That will fix that. That will fix that. So now we can come over here to our model props on the offer page, and we can now set set it to cancel and behave that way. So then when we have our model props up here, we will call the close text equal to cancel. And what we'll do is that if they hit the cancel button rather than the submit button, then we'll need to force them to pick a different product. But let's see how this plays out so far. We also probably need to create an additional button here for when they want to submit. So create offer, and this is going to be create product. Awesome. So we don't have that, but we should do the create product. Again, the big question that I have with this, since I'm doing kind of a generic modile here and not building it completely in its own thing, const create product. And again, this is just going to be a stub. The question that I ultimately have is whether or not this will work by putting it in here. So when someone picks, please select a new product, and product is equal to, if product is equal to 0, then we want to go ahead and change the modile to display. So coming back over here to, let's see, page.ts, no, we did it in sale. I'm sorry, we specifically did it in sale form. So if we come back up here to the top, we actually set the modile.show modile equal to true. So let's see if that works. We'll come back over here to our offer page, our offer.svelte. Oop. Wait. Offer, sale form. Is that right? Sale? No, that's not right. Here it is. So yeah, so when they click on create new product, we'll show them the form, and let's see if we broke it. Select the category, games, select a product, create new product, and we failed. Why did we fail? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's console.log our product to see what the value is, because it seems like there's no errors. So when we select a category and we select a product, we get an array? No, we get an object. What? That's that. Oh, it's not working. Because I put it in the wrong thing. Haha, look at me being an idiot. So let's try that again. New product, show the modile when we select a new product. One more time. Games, please select the product. Hey, there's our product. But it's not quite right. It looks like we have some additional cleanup to do. It's not running the function. And I assume, let's clean that up real quick. And then I'll have 3 minutes before I end my stream. So I think if we add in the curly brackets here, there we go. So now we have the proper cancel button, create product button, and the product name. It still doesn't look perfect, but again, we're not quite going for perfect just yet. So let's see, before we go, let's see if the functionality at least kind of works by putting it where it is. So we have our page, and we have our offer here. So when you create a product, it should do that. So let's see if that works. So let's console log everything for now, and if it does work, great, then we'll put the logic for it here. If it doesn't work, we'll probably have to cross that bridge on Wednesday. So we'll grab the product name and product description. We could probably and should probably in both the form and here add some error logging that catches when the product name or product description is blank. But right now we don't want that. We'll worry about that in a little bit. So we're back here to the offer page. We select games, create a new product. We'll put some gobbledygook in here. And when we say create product, it displays it. So that's very nice. And I think that's a really good kind of stopping point. From here, the next steps on Wednesday are going to be when they select a new product, we'll go ahead and create the product on the back end. When that happens, we'll close this modile. We'll go ahead and then, and that's something we don't want for them to click out of it. We'll have to figure out that too. But when they create the product, it'll come back here, refresh this, and select the new product that they've entered. And we're not going to do a page reload. We don't want to do that this time, because then if they've started filling in the units or the price or the description, it'll clear that out. So we'll have to dive into all of those pieces. But this is the basics so far. We'll continue working on those pieces, and once this is done, we'll kind of have a mostly finished product. Mostly finished. Now, of course, there's still a lot of features and functionalities one could add to this, but for my particular, point of view, I've spent about, I'd say, 2 weeks on it. It'll have been 2 weeks, and I think this is all right for a starting Nest and Svelte project with Tailwind. After this, I'll take, of course, requests, like I always ask, whether anyone wants any specific type of product or application created, and I'll give it a try. I do have one request in the queue for a a particular app to help people learn Morse code, but I haven't taken a look at the details of that. After that, I'll try a couple of projects, but there's one that I want to work on to help real estate agents. So we'll see how that goes. I thank everyone for their time and for tuning in today to watch me write some code. I appreciate you, and I thank you all for being here. Everyone have a good evening. Take care.